California Governor Gavin Newsom is taking on Trump again and has signed a sweeping new law banning law enforcement officers, including ICE agents, from wearing face masks while on duty. The ban takes effect January 1st, 2026, and it strikes directly at the heart of America's immigration wars. Governor Newsom says this law protects Californians from what he calls secret police roaming the streets. But critics say this move puts federal officers at risk. The controversy began after Los Angeles immigration raids in June, when masked ICE agents stormed neighborhoods. The raid sparked violent protests, clashes with police, and forced President Trump to deploy 700 Marines and 4,000 National Guard troops to California's largest city.
You know what's extremely ironic about this is that in California we had mask mandates where we were forced to wear masks to go into businesses, restaurants, stores. Everyone had to wear a mask, even to go into a bank. And now, because their voter base of illegals are being removed by force, they want to completely go 180 and enforce removing masks. This is completely insane, and it's rather hilarious on its face when you look at it. This does nothing, and I'll go over why shortly.
Now, California is pushing back. The new law makes it illegal for most officers to cover their faces, with only a few exceptions for undercover agents, wildfire smoke, or disease protection. And there's more. From January next year, every officer must identify themselves by name and badge number. No more anonymity. Schools, too, are becoming off limits. Federal immigration agents will need a warrant, a subpoena, or a court order before setting foot on campus.
Or what? My question is, or what? I dare you, as a police officer, to try and touch the mask on one of our ICE agents' face. I dare you, as a local police officer, to try and arrest a federal agent in a mask. You know, the reason this is nonsensical is because since California's liberal policies sent them into a lockdown that lasted for over 3 years, they just said the exemption is you could be wearing a mask for disease protection. You can indefinitely declare disease protection as your purpose for wearing a mask. But we have a saying, we have an old saying, which is, you in what army? When somebody says they want to enforce some laws on you or they want to do something to you, the question that we ask is, okay, you in what army? See, the federal government of the United States of America, we have an army, we have a military. You are a local police officer in California. Again, I will ask you, you in what army are going to be able to enforce your will upon me? I'll wait. But while I'm waiting, let's explain how this works. See, the Constitution, I don't know if people know this, there's no guns or knives built into the Constitution, right? It's actually just only a piece of paper with writing on it. Do you know what gives the Constitution power? It's the men, the armed men with guns. Historically, they have been armed white men with guns that stand behind it, willing to kill and die to not only just to protect it, but to enforce it and uphold those amendments. That's what gives it power. So a judge ruling in favor of a governor who has no power to enforce their rulings, well, then it's a toothless tiger. It has no power. It means nothing. It's more so symbolic. It's like you give your little brother a PlayStation controller that's unplugged and you pretend that you're in control, but you're not. But you do it for show so that your mother doesn't get mad. I guess he's trying to show a loyalty to the criminals, the illegal criminals, the criminal aliens that are here, because the ones that will still be in the state that we might miss or they might escape justice, you're going to still want their vote and their support. So he's pretending that he's doing something. I dare you to try to force me to comply with your orders. Come try to take my mask off. Come try to force me to give you my name and badge number. Come try to force me to leave a school campus when I'm there apprehending a criminal or enforcing federal law. Federal law will always trump these state laws because we have the larger, stronger army. We have more guns. That's where the power comes from. Everything else in this country is really just symbolic. We play the game, we do the niceties, but when it comes down to it, if you really want to, be technical, we have the brute force. So what we say goes. Now, if you don't like what we say and you want to go against us, we have boxes custom just for you. There are boxes with bars, or there are boxes made out of pine, but you will not tell us what we will and will not do. The Fed you're under us. You cannot create new laws and tell the Fed what to do. That's like children coming home and giving their parents a curfew. That's not how this is going to work.
Families must be notified before any raid. Student records, classrooms, and even hospital emergency rooms are shielded from federal intrusion.
That is complete BS. We will go into any and everywhere we want to complete the mission. Again, hospitals don't have armies. Cities don't have armies. Schools do not have armies. We have an army. We also have something that California doesn't have. See, California has a chicken shit governor. We have a Pete Hegseth. Try us.
ICE, Unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Well, ICE as individuals are not afraid of anything, but don't forget, people have wives and children that chicken shit leftist activists will try to dox and make their lives uncomfortable. See, they go after soft targets. They go after women and children. They don't go after men. There was just another attack on a white woman today where some psycho monster black dude just threw battery acid on her. Another black person just chopped up two white people with a machete and killed their service dog as well. So people are under attack right now. The anonymity is not for the men in uniform, but it's for their children and families, since they are typically from the state where they're operating. Just like our National Guard, they're not covering their face because they're doing something wrong. There's really nothing to fear. The issue is you have family and friends who might be ideologically opposed to your work. They don't like our laws. They don't respect our laws. They don't respect our country, and they don't respect our people. Therefore, they want to impose their own laws on us and make us follow their own rules, which you are not going. You don't have the option. You don't get to come here from Mexico. You don't get to come here from Africa and create your own laws. Who the fuck do you think you are? Where do you think you are? The problem is we have been very weak and timid for too long, and we gave the illusion of weakness that people have taken advantage of. We are now closing those gaps. The links are being welded. We are not going to have any more weak links. If this is a war for our country and our sovereignty, we are happy to fight it. We will go one governor, one illegal, and one ideologically opposed cop at a time. But you will not be able to create new laws for our federal agents. Just FYI. And this is why. We have the guns. You don't. We are willing to die and kill to enforce our laws that are on the books to protect our country's sovereignty. If you're a cop and you're willing to die fighting against the federal government, then you're already suicidal, you're mentally ill, and you're not fit for duty anyway.
What are you afraid of?
And look at everybody behind them. They're all blacks, lesbians, gays, Asians, no patriots, no one white, except for the governor. See, he's using these people of color by playing into their disillusion of victimhood. The laws apply to everyone equally in the United States. There is no discrimination that is legal on paper. There is no policies or anything, but in the minds of people that are insecure about their appearance, insecure about their parents' nationality. They always feel victimized. You can manipulate and control them very easily. All you have to do is play into their victimhood. That's why they say, for example, when men hear that a woman grew up without a father, their ears go up because you know how to deal with a woman like that. You know what to say. You know how to get her wrapped around your fingers. When a person of color who thinks they're a victim and they feel like they're just oppressed and there's white people tormenting them every way, well, a smarter person, even if they're white, like Weiner, like Newsom, they know how to play into that victimhood role and to reinforce it and pretend that they're your savior, they're your ally. But really, Gavin Newsom's not gay. He has a wife and children. Do you think he would want his sons to be in a room alone with Mr. Scott Weiner back there, the one who proposed and passed Senate Bill 145, which protects pedophiles from having to register as a sex offender when they're caught with children? Gavin Newsom would never let his sons sit in a room by themselves with Weiner. But for control and for power, they'll say and do anything. Hell, the mayor in Minnesota is even eating Somalian slop and attempting to speak their language. That's how much they understand that these immigrants with their illegal votes is what's keeping them in power indefinitely. And they need that support. But eventually the hammer will come down, and the eventually is now. The show must go on, and we're going to have to remove these people who are going against the best interests of these United States. We must protect our sovereignty, our agents, and our country.
You're going to go out and you're going to do enforcement. Provide an ID. Tell us which agency you represent. Provide us basic information that all local law enforcement is required to provide.
So a cop pulls me over and he asks to see my license and registration. So basically, Newsom, you're telling me I should also say, well, thank you, sir. And if you don't mind, while I'm looking for mine, can you give me your ID and your registration as well? So now you're telling the people that we need to tell officers to identify themselves and question us the way we question them when we pull them over. I don't think he thought this out too well, or how this would play out. Again, this is more so symbolic. There's no enforcement method. Think about it. A judge can say, I declare that you got to do this, this, and this. Do judges have armies? Who is going to enforce the words of that judge? Is a judge a king? Is a judge a president? Does a judge have his own private military force that he can send to go die for him to enforce his will or his word? Even these judges, these activist judges that were put in place, can be ignored because they don't have militaries and they don't have guns. There's nothing. A judge's words are just, they're empty without enforcement behind it. See, we used to all be together. You know, we would back up our judges, but our judges are letting go of criminals that are aliens that our law enforcement are arresting, even if they're for rape or murder, because they need their voter block. They need them to stay in power. So the judges are even going against law enforcement, which they used to work together. It just shows you that there is a ideological divide that's happening. It's a civil strife. And there's two sides. I'm going to side with President Trump and the United States as a republic. Now, these people, if you look at Gavin Newsom, he's basically, he wants to create something called a multicultural democracy. And that's why you see everything in his background besides somebody white. They want a new country. They don't want to be a part of our republic, which is why they're always screaming about democracy. We've never been a democracy, never in our history. So you're going to have to pick a side. Now, obviously, if you follow my content, you know what side I'm on. You know where I stand. I'm wearing a red MAGA hat in my videos. This is the beanie of Tim Pool, except for Rico Limbaugh. This is my signature move. So now that I've picked a side, you can easily tell who's who. There is no blurred lines now. It's becoming more distinct. And you're going to have to realize, who are you willing to die for? This man pushes gay ideology, trans ideology, child mutilation, everything evil and protecting pedophiles. Which police officers in any of these counties of California are willing to die for a man that protects pedophiles? Please stand up and go for it. We don't need you anyway. You're taking up too much air.
Have the decency not to threaten people as they go to school, to go out the parking lots proximate to these schools to create chill.
But the White House is furious. Trump officials are reportedly calling California's law despicable and a direct attack on officers who put their lives on the line. In a blunt post on X, U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley says, "The Golden State has no jurisdiction over the federal government, and ICE agents will continue to mask up to protect their identities." This also makes a new flashpoint in the ongoing feud between California and the Trump administration. And it comes just months after the Supreme Court gave ICE sweeping powers to stop, question, and detain people without suspicion based only on their race, language, or job while legal challenges grind on. Now, critics warn. California is on a collision course with Washington. A fight over masks that cuts deeper into questions of identity, security, and civil rights.
I mean, I don't know if you would even call it a collision course. Well, would you call it a collision course if there's a golf cart looking to play chicken with a big rig? I don't think so. I don't think that's really a collision. I think that's a suicide mission. Again, you got to ask them, you and what army are going to be able to enforce anything you're proposing? We have the option to just ignore you. We listen and we comply with orders because it was a sign of respect. We were all on the same team. But now there are two distinct different teams, and we're not all the same type of Americans. We're just not. You know, some people, again, you got people that believe in the constitutional republic and some people that want a multicultural democracy. And even though we all speak the same language, we have citizenship, we're not the same type of Americans, not anymore. So it's going to come down to will, and it's going to come down to who's able to enforce what. Again, a judge has no army. A governor has no army. They have local police, the National Guard. The National Guard is going to decide, am I going to side with the federal government, or am I going to die protecting a man that, protects pedophiles? Good luck. Good luck with that. But no one is dumb enough in law enforcement to go against the federal government, because there's no turning back from that. That's mutiny. You can be mutinous and you can go down with Newsom, but you're not going to land on your feet. We will continue to wear masks, protect our identities. We will continue our enforcement methods any and every way we deem fit to complete the mission. Right now, the rents are going down in California. The crime is going down in California. People are going back to work. Americans. We had a huge gang explosion and murder explosion and crime explosion as soon as we had an illegal immigration explosion in the 70s. Most of my friends, we all grew up in LA. We never even had we never knew jobs existed. For the previous 20-something years, they've all been filled by people willing to work for half price who don't even speak English. This is the first time in our history in California that Americans of different backgrounds are now being hired for jobs that were historically only for illegals. Jobs in construction, jobs in management, jobs in warehouses, jobs in trucking, jobs in food distribution, jobs at malls and stores, etc. I got lucky. My family owned a company. I worked for my family business. But if it wasn't for that, who's going to hire me? I'm an American. These people are working for less than minimum wage. I can't even choose to take less than minimum wage. So I wasn't even a candidate. They'll accept your application, but why would they hire you when they can hire, somebody else for half the price that doesn't speak the language and is not going to complain, not going to want benefits, not going to expect PTO or time off or anything? There was no way for me to compete. If this is what it's going to take to save my state and boost and bring my people and strengthen my community, my American community, If this is what's required, then so be it. I support ICE. I'll join ICE. If this is what it takes to make America great, because it's already great, again, for people that have been out of work for years, that are now getting multiple phone calls a day offering them triple because all of a sudden their slave labor disappeared overnight. 10,000 illegals gone from the California workforce. 17,000 illegals removed from the trucking companies in California. This is just in California alone. Do you know how many jobs, you know how many people are now taking those positions who are Americans? That's our birthright. This was made for us to begin with. You were on the assembly line. You were kicked to the side because it made more sense for a business owner to hire somebody that can pay less. It helped their bottom line, but it killed our economy. This is the equivalent of sending jobs to other countries. Then what happened to the people that were working them in America? All the plants were all shut down. I used to live in Detroit when the car companies went bankrupt. I was living there. I watched what happened when people lose all those jobs and they open up plants over south of the border. They moved those people's jobs over there. Trump wants to bring them back, and he's already doing it. And the tariffs are helping because it's going to be too expensive to import them here in the first place. You might as well just build in America. The agenda is working. It's a net positive. We're going to continue the mission. Newsom doesn't have an army. Judges don't have an army. Schools don't have an army. Nobody has an army stronger than ours. So they don't have any say-so. That's what it comes down to. We don't have to play nice. We have a country to save. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, share the video, leave me a comment. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.